Welcome back, everybody, to the Next Ramos Release Tournament number 2, hosted by VGVN and Liquid Hearth in cooperation with One Nation of Gamers. These two organizations are doing a lot for esports, so make sure to check out everything regarding the stuff. But also, don't forget to enter the chance to win the Zeus Mini Cyberpower PC, which you just have to type in ! giveaway to find out more details, or go to the bottom of the Twitch channel. In the meantime, I was completely wrong before the break. Well, maybe not completely wrong. Trump is playing, but Trump will be playing Kolento coming up on stream. I assumed Trump versus Sixo, but Nimsh rightfully corrected me in between commercial breaks. And we're going to get ready for that. And it's going to be an important series because Kolento is 1-0. And if you go up 2-0, your chances to advance are very high. It's really difficult to kind of be in a position where you don't advance going 2-1. Versus 1-2, you're always at the mercy. You have tiebreakers and making your opponent and your score mattering. And so this is a very important series for Kolento. And Trump also wants to get off to a good start as well.
ESM versus Cloud9. Who do you think has an edge? Kolento being kind of like constructed master, Trump being arena master and a very popular streamer and a very good player as well, having actually an edge with a lot of tournament experience, because Kolento being an experienced ladder player and deck innovator, a deck builder, I think it's one of his first tournaments. He was playing at Millennium Cup, but then was he playing anywhere else? I think it's like his second or third tournament he's playing in. Oh, he was playing the WEC qualifier. So it might actually be his third tournament where Trump played around 10 or even more than that.
There's been a lot, at least from Trump, whether you go to Fight Night or Tavern Takeovers or even here, the Next Ramos Release Tournament. He's done a lot. And he's been also on stage in front of tens of thousands of people, both live and also online. So the guy has a lot of experience. Kolento showing a little bit of nerves in the previous series. Hopefully it doesn't come out to here. Let's jump into the ban screens, by the way, and figure out what the guys have chosen. It seems like Trump and Kolento have both mutually agreed to ban Hunter, which can't fault them for that. Hunter is just so dominant. So we're going to start from there. Trump's been very fond of this Priest deck in general. It did really well for him back at the HyperX Invitational just 1 week ago. Or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember if it was that far back. And meanwhile, Kolento's going to start off really strong with this fast combo Druid deck that Strifeco has been introducing to the metagame.
It's so refreshing to see a metagame without any Hunters. So I'm pretty happy that both players actually banned Hunter, being one of the strongest decks right now. And this matchup will be also interesting. The Druid versus Priest. Druid trying to fight for the early game, trying to play those minions and rush as well, as we've seen Kolento versus Reels. Trump, on the other hand, well, he has a lot of minions as well. He might control the board. He has very strong minions like Dark Cultist and Zombie Chow. If he gets those minions in correct order, because it feels like Priest is a bit more random than Druid. So if he gets them in the correct order, he might have a very strong opening. He also has a very strong mid game and important cards that like Cabal Shadow Priest that can just steal the Harvest Golem on turn 6, or fine if he has a coin. I wonder if he will be able to use Mind Control, by the way. Turn 10 card.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just how often do you get an opportunity to survive that long, especially with the amount of pressure that Druid can put on with things like Druid the Claw, Spectral Knight, and Priest is completely powerless against these 4-attack minions. Not to mention that Spectral Knight has that ability where a lot of cards don't even affect it. So like Holy Fire is not even useful against a mid-range creature like that. I have to imagine that this Druid deck is slightly favored, but you know what? If you take kind of like a zoo approach and you build the board with Priest, you're able to continue to reinforce your pressure, and then you always have ways to heal up your creatures that have been established. Maybe Priest can always get off to a good enough start with Northshire Cleric and Circle of Healing to the point where it doesn't even really matter what Druid does.
I feel like Wild Pyromancer is the key card here. Like with Wild Pyromancer, you're able to clear both minions and the Death Rattle tokens that come into play. So if he is able to get Wild Pyromancer and then use it effectively, he might actually stop Kolento's board with Haunted Creepers, Oozes, and Harvest Golems.
Yeah, and that's where Shadow Madness also comes into play too, with how many low attack creatures with Death Rattle, you get their effect and you get to clear the board. So these cards are in Trump's favor, but he has to kind of draw them in the right order, or else Kolento will steamroll him for game number 1. Let's jump into the board and find out what's happening in the opening mulligans. All right,
Trump has the coin.
Nice. Priests generally like that coin for the reason you said, for the Pyromancers.
Oh yeah, definitely. He will, if he gets a Pyromancer, he will be able to use the coin very effectively. He also has Zombie Chow, which is I'm pretty curious to see Zombie Chow in constructed play being used effectively as well. It's kind of like a combo card with Okanai Soul Priest, but other than that, it's a very strong 1-drop that is able to just trade effectively and buy a couple of turns for Trump, because even if Zombie Chow dies and Trump heals Kolento for 5, it doesn't matter that much if he's able to stabilize with the board position pretty early. On the other hand, Kolento got Shade of Naxxramas, but he doesn't have an Innervate. And what I love to see... oh, he has an Innervate now, but it's kind of late.
Yeah, if he was able to play Shade of Naxxramas turn 1, I mean, that thing would have been turned out to an absolute monster. It didn't really matter what Priest was able to do. He would have to kind of reveal it before he can Shadow Word Death it.
Did Kolento cry? Have you seen that? Well, he was pretty frustrated, I guess.
I rarely have Innervate enter my hand this early into the game, and I'm upset. But, you know, maybe Kolento missed a golden opportunity, that something I'm not exactly completely versed in this matchup. By the way, Dark Cultist, absolutely the king of the early game for Priest as well. Another card that's been shoring up all the matchups and making life difficult for the other opponents. And now that he has another Dark Cultist, the board from Trump is looking mighty fine. Like, there's just so many powerful cards. And the Zombie Chow damage is a little bit negligible. The fact that, the Death Rattle effect is a little negligible because you have bigger threats to follow it up.
Oh, Kern might be a pretty nice card. There's a 4-attack minion, which is pretty hard for Priest to deal with. And he has that Innervate that he can use now. But maybe a better play will be to actually play Defender of Argus here and start trading. But the thing is, like, all those Dark Cultists, they have the Fralo, and they just buff other minions. So what do you really want to do being Kolento here? I guess it's kind of like a tricky situation. The thing is, like, even if Trump attacks into Kolento, like dealing a lot of damage, you still know that you have this 5 points of damage. That's possibly something that will heal you, unless Trump actually gets this the Okanai, and will be able to turn 5 points of, like, healing here into dealing damage.
I think, like, turn 4 Karen is almost too good to pass up. You do give up your curve, because you could have played turns 4 to 6 with Defender, Ancient of Lore, and Karen, but the fact is now you can kind of bully these minions with Karen and take advantage of Innervate without it being dead in your hand for a while. So I like this line of play a little bit better. Because also, if you use Defender of Argus, that means you're kind of attacking with the shit. Or are you? Like, you're just going to have it sit there and then have it completely get bullied? I don't know. I like Karen a little bit better because it's better board presence for sure.
Well, the thing is, like, if Kolento actually survives the next 25 turns, he will be able to one-shot Trump.
All right, so that's the goal. Just bring anti-fatigue against Priest.
Well, right now Kolento is poised in a pretty good state with Karen and Shade of Naxxramas, which will be a 4/4 next turn.
Circle of Healing is just going to draw so many cards.
Oh my god, this is huge.
Yeah, and it might not be over yet. He might pick up Power Word Shield. Oh, there it is. And he can continue drawing, which is really important. And also keeps some important cards alive as well.
There is an Okanai, so this Zombie Chow actually might turn into 5 points of damage bomb that will attack into something and then just finish off his opponent instead of a heal.
Yeah, and picks up Cabal Shadow Priest, another very important card as the game develops, because Kolento will be using things like Harvest Golem and Haunted Creepers in his favor. Ancient of Lore off the top for Kolento, so he's got lots of ways to add gas to his hands. And interestingly enough, Defender of Argus makes his board slightly more vulnerable because the 4 attack from Priest is hard to deal with. But then if you buff it up, then all of a sudden you can Shadow Word Death.
This board looks so sick from Trump. Those minions are just sitting there, so they are so big. Like, and also buff the board. Like, what you want to do here? You want to mass silence if possible, buffing your minions.
Mass
Well,
Dispel.
Yeah, mass dispel. It's like, what can you even do? Do you attack face and just deal 10 points of damage and try to race, or well, just trading? So painful.
Ooh, that is not a good buff.
Well, you can kill the zombie chow, I guess, but on the other hand, you want to kill the 1/3 as well, because we want to deny the draw possibility.
Yep.
On the other hand, Trump has a Sludge Vulture. His hand seems so strong with double Sludge Vulture, Cabal Shadow Priest, even Black Knight, which can be used really effectively in here.
Yeah, normally Black Knight against Fast Druid, excuse me, Black Knight against Fast Druid doesn't really apply, at least before this deck came out, because even Druid of the Claw was like the only form of taunt against Druid. But then you usually played in cat form to charge your opponent down. Now with Defender of Argus and the amount of buffs that you want to use on Echoing Ooze, on Shaded Next Rammus, Black Knight is also all of a sudden a much more relevant card in this matchup than it was before. So Trump's got pretty much everything he wants. I think the only thing left is the Circle of Healing to complete his Akanai combo in case he needs it. But Kolento is now in desperation mode until he can stabilize the board.
Well, the thing is, like, he's just winning the board. Like, with this Force of Nature, he just clears, and the board is his. And he also heals himself to the 26 points of health. So, right now, Kolento actually turned around the game. Trump has a lot of cool cards in his hand, but he will be able to only play one. Cabal Shadow Priest is the best card he can play here. But it's funny how the Black Knight suddenly lost his value with no taunts on board.
Yeah, the Ancient of Lords, this is Kolento's way to bounce back into the game. And that's going to be like, if he didn't have these Ancients, like if he only had one even, I would still say that Trump's heavily favored. But 2 Ancient of Lords is just really difficult to deal with, especially since Trump used 1 Shadow Word Death already.
I think we are going to see this Mind Control on turn 10. This game seems pretty slow right now, and both players will be fighting for the board position.
Second Akanai, so he can be a little bit more liberal and even use hero power and pressure back onto the Druid. But Kolento's got some good answers in hand at the moment.
That was kind of like a weird play, I guess. I'm not sure. I would maybe play a Holy Nova instead.
You want to go for the full board clear?
Yeah, it really depends what your game plan is. But if you clear the board and then you're able to stabilize, like you kind of stall till Mind Control turn, and then you try to win on turn 10. But I guess it was also an okay play, because right now this 5/5 wall probably has to trade with something anyway, and he still has that Holy Nova to be able to play it now, and he even gets a Thought Steal, which is on curve. It's like a perfect draw that he needed.
Yeah, let's see what he draws off of it. Maybe even combo to end the game. Wrath and Harvest Golem. Okay. I mean, it is something. It's removal too, which might give Priest the ability to affect the board enough.
Well, he wants to play minions, I guess. He has those Sludge Belchers, he wants to use them. So, but is he going to go for face? Like, really, as a priest, do you really get your opponent low? I feel like you need to think about clearing the board and try to win the board first, and then go for face. Well, there are different strategies, and Trump knows how to play his own deck, but if he pushes with damage enough, and then Mind Controls in 2 turns an important card, that might just win him the game. But here Kolento has an opportunity to actually like do anything he wants, because he still has 2 big minions on board, and he has a lot of removal in his hand as well. He even has an Innervate, so potentially 11 points of mana.
Yeah, Trump's trying to set up a Holy Nova play this turn, or sorry, the next turn, excuse me, and then have like the Ancient of Lords attack a little inefficiently, and then he doesn't have to sacrifice his Cabal Shadow Priest. It's a value play, although you're always a little bit wary of setting up your Sludge Belcher just to die to a 5-attack minion. Kolento can easily silence this, and even go for some board clear action with Swipe. I feel like that might be the best course of action, depending on how much damage you feel like he's taking, giving up.
Yeah, definitely he can clear here. He can even play like an Ooze and Taunted if he wants to. Like
He's gonna
whatever he
trap it.
plays.
Ooh, but Black Knight's gonna get really good value then. Oh man, that's probably the best target you can ask for, short of a Haunted Spectral Knight.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing for Trump to be able to play the Black Knight and kill the Taunt in here. But still, it doesn't clear the board, kind of. Trump is able to win the board position here. But the 2-4 is still, again, and it seems like this Black Knight is not winning him the game yet. Kolento still has a lot of good cards as a follow-up. He can... This Defender Vargas is so good. He can play Spectral. Does he have enough mana? Yeah, he has 11. He can play the Spectral Knight, he can play a Ooze, and then innervate Defender Vargas and taunt the guys. In the effect, he will get 5/7 taunt and 2 free taunts. So a huge board. And this might be important that Trump actually kept his Holy Nova for all those turns, because this board is definitely something you want to use it on.
Okay.
Oh, he's actually trading
saving
here. Okay.
Spectral Knight, baiting out more removal first. All right. I mean, Spectral Knight is just one of those cards where it's a superstar if your opponent doesn't have the immediate way to deal with it, and it's just such a nightmare. But Kolento is going to go for a removal as a high priority. He wants to protect these 2/3 uses and get as much traction as you can.
Well, they are pretty good because they are out of Holy Nova range, but Trump actually top deck Shadow Madness. Doesn't mean that much if you steal one of the 2/3s. It's so weird because yeah, they don't have like, they only have 2 attacks, so you won't be able to kill anything. You can kill one, but paying 4 mana to kill half of a creature seems like a bad deal. Like even Mind Control is not that good right now because Kolento doesn't have a very exciting single minions. Like he has a cool board that's above the Holy Nova range, but stealing a 3/5, it's not something you want to steal with the only Mind Control you have in your deck. So it's better to play Sludge Belcher and something. But maybe there's a different play that Trump can actually do here because he has a lot of cards in his hand.
I'm trying to think of the best line to take.
So painful that Holy Nova is actually not doing anything, because normally you would play like Injure Blade Master, play Holy Nova, kill stuff, and heal it as well.
Well, Holy Nova actually doesn't kill anything unless you combine it with Shadow Madness.
Yeah,
I think
so
Sludge
sad.
Belcher contends the most. Then if that's the case, then you're most likely going to play another small minion, but he's going to go for Shadow Madness and kill off. I mean, it's 4 mana to do 3 damage. Well, I guess you do a little bit 2 damage to the other minion. So basically, everything that trades in is weak to the Sludge Belcher. But then this is, again, assuming your opponent can't just get past the Sludge Belcher and then easily push through.
Savage Roar is actually a cool card because you can play it this turn. You can play Spectral Knight and Savage Roar, remove the Sludge Belcher, deal some points, a couple of points of damage. So keep yourself out of range, because with Savage Roar you are able to kill the Sludge Belcher with the Keeper of the Grove and Hero Power to kill the 1/2. Deal what, 8 points of damage, and still play the Knight and maybe an Ooze as well. Your board is...
I think Savage Roar disrupts the Sludge Belcher from being able to go 3 for 1 effectively. So using it here is a smart play, like you suggested. You want to kind of deny, again, the Priest to be able to do it. And plus, the Spectral Knight is now the main threat on the board. How is Trump going to deal with this? He can't Mind Control it. He can't Holy Fire it with Pyromancer.
He needs Circle of Healing.
He needs Circle of Healing and then some.
So now he's all out of taunts as well. So no taunts. Not much stuff, actually. He can't Mind Control the Spectral Knight because it's untargetable. So what do you even do? He's not dead next turn. He's staring at 8 points of damage. So he can still try to like just develop the board and hope that there is no second Savage Roar or anything that deals 8 points of damage that will kill him. Definitely, I guess, Kern. And well, but still, even if you play Kern and Harvest Golem, maybe... Yeah, that's also fine, I guess.
That's exactly a good summary. It's fine, I guess. Kolento is one Savage Roar from ending the game. He picks up Lotad, which also might do just as good in terms of sealing the game away, as Trump now can't even use a lot of his spells. Holy Nova costs 10. Mind Control costs 15.
Oh yeah, like Lothab is a snowball card. You're winning with your board, and then you just drop Lothab to only like
Yeah.
stop your opponent from playing anything that's good. Right now, Trump can only play minions, and are there any even if are there minions that actually help in the situation? Like Defender of Argus would be cool, I guess, that you get a taunt, but still, you're not able to play any combos. Even Circle of Healing would cost 5 with the Lothab power.
Yeah, you know, he can't like draw off the Northshire. Like this is the ideal way is kind of to use Holy Nova and then be able to use Northshire Cleric to draw, maybe pick up Shadow Word Death and climb back in the game. But this is where Lothab's really able to do a lot of heavy lifting. Kolento is 1 damage from ending the game at the moment.
He needs something.
Yeah.
Swipe, Defender of Argus.
Literally anything that does 1 extra damage.
Wrath
Wrath isn't
Face.
it, but you can Wrath Face and draw a card. I like it.
I definitely draw a card from Wrath and
Keeper of the
Grove
Grove will
seals
do it. And Kolento takes game number 1, and Trump's Priest goes down, but this was something a little bit of expected considering the potency of this Druid deck and how much pressure it can put on Priest. You know, and Trump did get off to a good drawing start with Northshire Cleric and Circle of Healing, but this is where you see how leveraging cards like Spectral Knight and you know, getting out an early Cairn can be really powerful against Priest, and that's why you don't want to pass it up.
This game was so interesting because it seemed like Trump has it in a bag. Like for the beginning, he drew so many cards. He had Dark Cultist, which is the strongest priest card, arguably. Zombie Chow, he had everything he needed. He was able to get a lot of value there and just fill his hand. But Kolento, even though his start was kind of slow with just the Haunted Creeper, he was able to slowly grind his way up with that Cairn on turn 4. And snatch board position around turn 6 and 7. Those Ancients of Lores were so important that he was able to fill out his hand. And then just win the game from that point with a lot of cards. He kind of got even with the number of cards that both players had. And he was just playing better minions at that point.
All right, well, now talk about playing minions and being able to outpace the Druid. We saw how this squared up the previous series, Zoo versus Druid, and Trump's going to turn to Zoo once again, a class that he's specialized in for some of his free-to-plays, and he's played a lot on stream, and has also used it to success in the previous tournament, the HyperX Invitational. Now bringing it here. We've said some of the keys to this matchup, but Trump's got some also flavor cards that might bring a little bit difference, right? Zombie Chow, for example, and Zoo. Sometimes it's great because it's a 1-drop that has great stats, but then sometimes it puts your opponent out of range for things like Doomguard to finish the game. So you kind of take the good with the bad. Do you have any opinions on this card that's included in Trump's Zoo deck?
It's weird. It's definitely a funny card to have. It offers a lot if you like as a 2/3 that is able to trade kind of. But I liked it in Priest more. In a Zoo, it's you have a lot of good 1-drops that you can use, and there is no way to actually turn the heal from Zombie Chow, so you can only use it kind of like a card that trades with our minions, or something like you deal damage with and your opponents want to trade with it. But there's a lot of cards that actually kill it anyway. So I'm not sold on Zombie Chow. Maybe Trump will actually show me how to play this card in a Zoo and how to win with this. But definitely this matchup is giving Trump an advantage because he will have a lot of minions, early minions, and he can put a lot of pressure early and just trading effectively with Kolento. If he wins early game, then the game will be his with a huge follow-up with like Doomguard. And so far, wait, he's not actually running any power overwhelming cards. This is interesting. So the only cards that enable Nerubian Egg are the Sergeants and, well, Direwolf as well.
Yeah, Stone Cleric and Defender of Argus.
That's not a lot. That Egg can actually be a dead card.
Sometimes you just won't have the cards that line up. It might happen every so often. Well, we'll see if it pays off for Trump, because I think the next game is about to begin in just a second. Kolento, I think the most important thing about this Druid deck is it's got to win. It's going to be hitting inevitably bad matchups. And he does have a good start. Innervate in the hand is really nice. Picks up Keep with the Grove, and I think he'll be all set because you're able to kind of pressure out early game. There's lots of small drops like Echoing Ooze and Haunted Creeper. And you know what? Maybe you can just flood the board in response to Zoo and pick up good trades early on.
Trump has a perfect start, except he didn't get a coin. So now this start actually not that great. But normally if you...
Oh my god, double innervate for Kolento. Oh my god.
This is so sick. What is happening? And he even has a coin. Wait.
Well, you know, okay, he could push out everything in the hand. But then, you know,
thinking
you're
about
just living off the top deck. He's going completely ham. I like it. And now Trump's got to deal with a big board all of a sudden on turn 1.
Oh, Trump is like,
Trump
what?
Can't believe it. My greetings.
My greetings. A natural mistake. Okay, so this is 5 minions on turn 1. This is an all-in thing. And Kolento, one of the biggest innovators, one of the most intelligent players, it's just gonna go in, and depending on the top deck, and he's smiling. But because this is a 6 start against the Zoo, this is really a 6 start. You just deal damage, and you do so much pressure, and you can always use your hero power if you draw into something that's not usable. This is so funny, by the way.
He's just missing Power of the Wild. Unfortunately, it's not in his deck. But imagine if he was able to get something like that. Absolutely disgusting. Trump, of course, not happy to see it.
Oh my god, a Savage Roar top
What? Kolento has Savage Roar off the top?
What is happening?
Oh my god.
Being Trump, do you see this? Do you call a Savage Roar?
I don't know what you can predict. Your opponent's just top decking the entire time.
So Kolento, because there is a Void Walker, but still, Kolento, he decides to trade. Oh, he actually decides to get even more minions.
Yeah, get more minions. Why not?
Oh my god, he just cleared the board. Is this lethal?
I don't think so. This jungle, if it went to face, that'd be so funny.
This is
there were 6 bodies and 6 damage plus 14. That was 20 damage right there.
Yeah, that's 12 to face. That's clear the board, 12 to face. Trump is just shaking his head. It's like he can't believe it. Even the bear is surprised. Like look at that bear. It's just blankly staring.
All right. Well, Trump can juggle and continue to peck away at this flu, but it goes to face.
Oh my god!
Oh no! Unlucky. Defender of Argus off the top for Kolento. This couldn't get any better of a start. This is exactly what he is. He has Ancient of Lore, by the way, for turn 7 to refill his hand if he needs to. But this, again, he's able to put on pressure. What is happening? Who's really the Zoo player? I don't know.
It might actually look funny, but I'm kind of starting to feel sad for Trump because Kolento is just getting out of the top all the cards he needs. Like Savage Roar turn 3, now Defender of Argus. It's just disgusting, kind of. It's not a fair game.
Oh man. All right, well, Kolento will have the initiative. He has 5 damage, can piece together a few more, and he can end the game. Doomguard has a lot of work on his hands, and you mentioned it before the match. Ruby Egg might be just sitting here dead unless Trump can pick up something. Defender of Argus off the top would be really good for him right now.
Arson Square is a blank.
Oh.
He will have to tap.
Tap the 4 Soulfire.
It's not something that he needed. He's still alive. Is he? Yeah, he is.
Yeah, barely. Kolento needs 1 damage. 1 damage, which seems to be a running theme for most of Kolento's deck. He top deck swipe! This game is over, and Kolento jumps out to a 2-0 lead.
This deck is so sick. Oh my god, this Druid deck is just... Trump is just chatting. GG. Yeah, this can happen. That's why we have the best of 5 format, because something like this can happen in Hearthstone. And obviously, it's not like Kolento had to make a decision. It was a risky plan. It worked out. He had to make a decision to innervate and coin like everything. Because if Trump would have actually a Hellfire, like some of the Zoo decks are having this Ninja Hellfire. If Trump would have it, and also like if Kolento would be only drawing into like Spectral Knights for a couple of turns, Trump would have a chance to actually turn around the game. But Kolento drew perfectly, and well, that was really weird.
That wasn't weird. That was awesome. And now Kolento is up 2-0. I mean, it's not awesome for Trump fans or Trump himself. I feel bad that it happened to him. But like the fact that that was able to get pulled off was pretty sick. Innervates feels really unfair sometimes for that very reason. And it might feel a little harmless, right? What's a bunch of 1-1s kind of pecking away? But when you have Savage Roar top deck, you're getting Defender and Swipe off the top to continue to clear and pressure the board. You know, Kolento just completely ran away with the game. Trump's going to have to go to his last deck, which is a Control Warrior, but it is pretty slow. And Control Warrior does have those starts where sometimes an aggressive deck can completely sweep under you.
He is running Baron instead of Baron. How do you even pronounce it? Baron? Biren?
Oh, well, there's no E, so Baron definitely sounds most correct. I think it's Baron Geddon.
And friends. But apparently, Cruel Taskmaster is not Trump's friend because he's
you're
not
talking
on
about
the
the
list.
title. My bad. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
I thought you were talking about the card. I was like, what's going on here?
It's the bear. That's actually the bear that's sitting next to Trump. So basically, Baron and friends, and he's not running Cruel Taskmaster. But this deck is actually poised to fight aggro. He has Cleave to deal with those echoing oozes. He has a Slam. He has ghouls as well. So it's a pretty stacked deck with regards to responses to all the small cards that Kolento might be playing. Death Spite, a really good card, will also clear the board. Sludge Belcher and Faceless. So Trump needs to draw into all those early cards. Early.
It's a little greedy though, Nimsh. Just look at how heavy his hand is. He's got 5 legendaries 7+. He's got, I mean, the majority of his deck seems to be 5 or higher because he's cut cards like Whirlwind and even Cruel Taskmaster. Those are cards that you use to kind of answer early game minions with 1 health and get synergy. So Trump went super greedy with this Control Warrior, in my opinion. Cleave is like one of those cards where like, well, if you have to have some way to answer aggro, that it is. But things have to line up pretty nicely for our Mayor Value down if he wants to climb back in this, in my opinion.
You know, I feel like he will be just mulliganing pretty aggressively. And that might be the key to this deck. And it's this matchup, actually, because you really, against this Druid, you need all those early cards. And you need that Death Spite to be able to win. But the Echoing Ooze plus Defender of Argus threat is present all the time. So I guess we can jump into the game and see what happens.
All right, let's do it and find out if Trump gets swept here by Kolento or will he be able to climb back. And you know, exactly what you're saying. If you mulligan early, you get those important cards. Unstable Ghoul to kind of answer whatever comes out with Haunted Creeper. You know, Acolyte to get you the draws. Fiery War Axe early on. You still have a good spot. But Trump is going to need a little bit more than what it currently shows in his hand. Kolento could also have a slow start, which seems like other than Echoing Ooze, he doesn't have anything for the first few turns. But something as simple as an Innervate can continue to put on pressure because Spectral Knight is also a star in anything versus Warrior.
Well, Trump actually picks up Cleave, which was pretty important because he will be able to deal with the Echoing Ooze pretty effectively. But other than that, his hand is not that good. I guess Death Spite is also an important card right now because he will be able to trade with some of the minions, and he has that kind of like a whirlwind effect when the weapon's out, and he gets Armor Smith as well, so it's getting better and better from Trump.
That's so important that he's top decking these Armor Smiths for future turns and not his really heavy Alex Straza, Gromosh, Ragnaros cards. And Kolento is going to need a little bit more. You know, his hand has a lot of damage potential, but cards like Ancient of Lore will be able to put on minions while pressuring. And now he's going to be sitting on a couple of... well, this turn's a little bit passive on the side because of things like Death Spite. But after Spectral Knight, he's going to need a lot more gas.
Yeah, he has a lot of burst, kind of, with double swipe and Savage Roar, but he doesn't have the meat to be able to play it. Spectral Knight will be a pretty nice drop on turn 5. But there is nothing else, and if he keeps just drawing into Haunted Creepers and some small minions that doesn't do anything, well, he might have a problem. And Trump is fine with stalling this game. He also has the Death Spite. He can clear the board pretty easily. He can also take his time and actually like play an Armor Smith, maybe slam something if he really needs to, but he doesn't have to. He can just kill one of those guys, kind of clear the board. Do you play Armor Smith before attack or after?
I think I value the 1 extra health because then he can't just Wrath and shred the armor, and then Armor Smith only gains you 2 health. I like playing it after the attack, and that's what he's going for. Force your opponent to be a little bit more uncomfortable with the situation. And I think it's a more solid play overall.
Yeah, I like it as well. It's 4 health is kind of hard to deal with, and he can attack into it, but then it's if there's a Wrath, he gets 2 points of armor. But definitely this is a Spectral Knight play. And that Armor Smith is pretty important because Trump will be able to he won't be able to execute. Oh my god, that's why the Spectral Knight is so good.
You can't execute, you can't shield slam, at least until it's silenced.
What do you even do with it?
Other ways you can remove it yet.
Yeah, Spectral Knight is pretty good in this matchup. Deathspite is pretty important, I guess, to be able to kind of remove it, but now the Deathspite is out of the way. This is a huge draw.
That is a really good card for Kolento to pick up.
But still, this turn is pretty weird. Definitely want to deal with.
It's a little weird because you know, you don't want to kind of lose. Like, say he has Deathspite number 2, then you lose your Spectral Knight, but then you leave up the Acolyte, which you never feel comfortable doing.
Well, you definitely have to one-shot Acolyte. Like, there is no way. Your opponent has 5 cards, and you have to deny the draw. But if you use Swipe, then it's super weird because he gets a lot of armor. So maybe attack into Armor Smith. I mean, the order actually matters. So attack into Armor Smith with a Spectral Knight, then swipe the 1/3 to clear the board, and I guess Hero Power into face.
You don't like developing the Harvest Golem here?
Well, Harvest Golem is also fine, I guess, but then you have to attack into 1/3. Leave the Armor Smith. Yeah, it's also fine. Board is more important than.
I think so. Yeah.
And still, the swipe also presents a burst possibility if it's needed.
Wow.
Oh,
Deathspite number 2 comes in the hand of Trump, and we were talking about that's like probably one of the best cards he could ask for to answer the Spectral Knight. And he got it. So now one of the biggest threats is going to have a life, or at least a clock on it. Maybe not this turn, but the following turns where he can answer this minion. A big draw for Trump. And of course, Kolento does have ways to continue to fuel his hand. But Trump couldn't have asked for anything better.
Trump has effectively 29 points of health. So he's in a pretty good spot. But yeah, it's Kolento. Just doesn't care. He goes for damage. He goes for another Spectral Knight because he knows how dangerous they are with a clear board and Armor Smith and Acolyte out of the way. Brawl is also not the best card that Trump can play in here.
So... No, not in this spot. At least not yet. Maybe in the turns where Echoing Ooze and Defender of Argus come out, Brawl can definitely be a viable option. I like the play to continue to pressure. You have swipes and Savage Roars. Not to mention that if you play something like the Ancient of Lore, and then it can get executed and killed off immediately after he attacks the Deathspite into the damaged Spectral Knight. So Kolento going with the pressure option. I like it. Sludge Belcher is also a very critical card too, because that's one of the few cards at its mana cost that can answer toe-to-toe with Spectral Knight. Spectral Knight can't push through Sludge Belcher that easily. It needs a little bit more juice.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice move from Trump, and he still has a lot of health, so he was able to pay with life for the death of that Spectral Knight. On the other hand, Kolento has this important Ancient of Lore, and I feel like this is the moment you really play it. You can draw into Innervate, kind of, but well, what else can you do? Do you actually, like...
I mean, you could develop the Haunted Creeper if you want, but why settle for mediocrity when you can get the best? Into a second Ancient of Lore. Kolento's hand is looking mighty fine. Not to mention that Lotheb can if in case he builds up his board even more. And then if you time it correctly, Warrior just can't remove everything, and you sneak in damage to set up for combo range. So he's got lots of options at his disposal. Trump does have some things he can do, but it's going to be tough.
Well, the thing is, like, if you just delay Lotheb for the next turns and just play it, Trump will still be able to play Brawl for 10 points of mana, even after Lotheb. So it seems like you play Lotheb and your opponent can't do anything with spells, and then you still get Brawled, and you're like, uh-oh.
But he got Undead Ghoul, which is an important card to kind of synergize with the draw. But Trump's going to maximize his armor, by the way, and forego that.
This goes pretty well for Trump, by the way, because we talked about it before. He had so many high-cost minions, and he didn't get any of them. He has a pretty good hand with a lot of removal, a lot of taunts, and a pretty good card, which is Kern. So it seems that his hand is actually pretty cool, and he has a lot of drawing possibility as well with Acolyte of Pain and Shield Block. So right now, it looks really good for Warrior. And on the Arrogant Kolento, well, he's in a really weird spot.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused a little bit on why Trump didn't play the Unstable Ghoul, because I thought the synergy is always there. Do you think he wanted to prioritize armoring up, or is there something I missed here?
Oh yeah, I definitely think he was prioritizing armoring up. He feels like he wants to have as much health as possible, and he can still play the Ghoul anyway. Acolyte was kind of hidden behind the Taunt Wall anyway, so you know, he would just expect it to be removed with a spell. And Ghoul can be used later, and it was the only taunt. Like, assuming that everything is being removed this turn, you still have that taunt for the next turn, just in case.
Yeah, this Lothep's so painful. You could have been able to play Cairn, armor up, and shield slam a 5/5. Say if it was Ancient of Lore, but now Trump's in a little bit of an awkward spot.
Well, I feel you still play Kern and play Unstable Ghoul, attack with a 1/2 and a 4/2. So essentially, you kind of like have a situation where you will be able to kill this Spectral Knight without any extra cost. And even though Lothep is killing Kern, it's dying as well because of the Ghoul's damage, unless the Ghoul is actually getting silenced.
Okay, well, he's going to go for Sylvanas instead of Cairn. And, you know, Sylvanas, again, you want to kind of use it to clear the board. It really pressures your opponent to make sure that whenever you're attacking into the board, you have a full board clear, or you're just going to ignore her, or a silence.
Sylvanas is also a cool play with the Ghoul, because he's kind of threatening the next turn, because Kolento wouldn't be able to kill his min. Well, there's another taunt, so Kolento should not be able to. Well, okay, basically, I don't like this play. He can kill the Taunt Totem with Shapeshift, and he can trade with Sylvanas, and then he can play something. So Sylvanas didn't do that much. When Kern would develop the board and clear the board as well, Sylvanas is just dying here without any value.
Well, I guess she traded at least evenly for Lotheb. And there's plenty of threats where that came from. Trump has some of the heaviest
Shade
legendaries.
Shade is pretty important here with the Innervate, because he curved out perfectly.
All right. By the way, Kolento does have full combo, so Trump has to be very cautious. Count up how much damage can Kolento do the next turn.
He can do 80 plus possible 725. Oh wait, Trump is at 25 health. If he plays Alexstrasza, he's dead.
There you go. He has to be very cautious with how he approaches this turn. But I think taking the opportunity to armor up and shield slam is the best. There you go, 26. And playing Cairn makes sense.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a good play. He's drawing hard, he's armoring up, healing himself, he's playing that Kern finally. Being Kolento here, what do you do? I feel like being Kolento, you're kind of happy with the outcome. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You do the pressure because you have the combo.
Pressure is what you do. Gosh, you're still putting on a lot of damage. Shades of Naxxramas is still a threat. Now you're at the point where you still have combo and you're threatening. He has to go for a full board clear. Just Trump have to brawl here.
Definitely. Brawl might be so sick in here. If Kern survives, like, even if Kern doesn't survive, he just heals whatever. Wait, he can't kill it. I guess you attack for 4.
I think you kill off one of the threats first, and then you brawl. 1 in 3 chance for it to survive.
Do you play Unstable Ghoul as well?
It's all about the calculations, right? So if you play Unstable Ghoul and shield block, is it still possible for them to burst through?
I think you can just shield block first.
Know.
See what you, because whatever so whatever you do, Alexstrasza and Geddon are out of the question. Those are not the cards you want to play, because the Shade will draw anyway. So shield block first, see what you get. And then you have to decide if you want to play Unstable Ghoul and Brawl, or do you want to Brawl before and definitely kill, I guess, Shade, because Shade has a lot of... Effectively, Shade is right now at 4-4.
Oh, he's going to go for the Brawl, Nimsh. There's no Armor Smith on the field.
What is going to survive? If Kern survives, this is so sick for Trump. Okay, Kern is down.
So he has to play his Unstable Ghoul. I mean, basically, these two cards on the left are going to be played unless it's a shield block, or shield slam, excuse me.
And he gets Fear Works. Ghoul is fine. But definitely, I would sequence it differently. Shield block first to see what you get, and then make decisions. But still, it put Trump in a good spot with 1-3 and 4-5. He's out of range of the combo. Kolento has to think about something, how to deal with this board. Swipe is kind of awkward, but it's still fine, I guess. If you swipe Kern and attack into 1-3, you clear the board, but what do you do after that? This you still have 6 mana, so I guess you can play Haunted Creeper and Defender Vargas. So you clear the board, and your board is pretty good.
I wonder if there's an opportunity for him to swipe past and then pressure, like attack with the Druid of the Claw anyways into the face, and then just allow this Bane to kind of trade, because it seems like what he's going to do. I like an attack to the face here. There it is.
Yeah, it's definitely better, because he is the one doing pressure. So he set up a board, and now he still has the combo in hand, and Trump will have to make a decision to clear everything and assume that there is no combo. And that Haunted Creeper is so dangerous, because even if you clear it, it still leaves the small spiders.
Yeah, and you know this, because he can't armor up, Baron Geddon will go for a pseudo clear. He's going to leave up a Defender Vargas, but Kolento does have full combo, and that's more than enough to kill off what Trump has remaining in health. So Kolento will go 3-0 with his Druid deck, and Trump starts off at a 0-1 to the group stages. Well played to Kolento.
Well played by Trump as well. So Trump played his decks really well, and it seems like this Druid deck is just so sick at with all the openings and stuff. But it's not only about the openings you can get. The deck is super strong and super stable. Kolento was able to get those Ancients of Lore when he needed them. Just refill his hand, and all those cards are so tricky. So definitely well played by both players. Sad to see Trump lose 0-3 in here. But on the other hand, Trump will still play 2 more matches, right? Because every player plays 3 in a round-robin series.
Yeah, you know, it's not over for Trump or Reels yet, even though they're down. But Kolento is in prime position to advance, I think, first place in his group. The fact that your game score does factor into the record, like most likely there'll be another person that's 2-1 or around that score. Kolento has one of the best already, unless he goes 0-3 in his next series. So Kolento in a prime position to advance.
It's not the end for Reels or Trump, and we will see actually those 2 players facing each other next match. So next match we'll see Reels and Trump, or right now with 1 loss, we'll see them facing each other and fighting for their first game that they can actually win.
Right, that's right. We want to take this opportunity to remind you guys to enter for your chance to win the Zeus Mini Cyber PC at the bottom right of the screen. If you type in ! giveaway, or if you go to the bottom of the Twitch channel, you'll see everything you need to know to enter for your chance to win. The PCB given away is by the Video Game Voters Network. And just a little bit about them. They've been a supporter for esports for the past few years, and they just want to get involved with the Hearthstone community to join the fight against aggressive legislation aimed at video games and harmful media portrayals of gamers in general. So find out more information. Joining is free, and find out more at the giveaway thing that's going on in the chat or at the bottom of the Twitch channel. Check it out while we take a few minutes to get ourselves ready for the next series at the VGVN Naxxramas Release Tournament number 2. We'll be right back.